Hello. Just got this today. The Palmer Speaker Simulator PDI-03. Thought I'd give a quick review of it or demonstration of it, kind of combine the two. I've actually got the PDI-04, and that's what I've been recording all my other videos with. But that's kind of taken a bit of a battering, and it now needs to go off for repair. And the chaps at Palmer have been really cool, and they're going to repair it for free, which is very nice. And I bought this in the interim to see me through, and once the PDI-04 comes back, I'm actually going to sell that because this unit seems to be a lot more suited to my purposes. And I'll just explain the difference between the two, or betwixt them. The PDI-04 doesn't have these switches. It's got a few extra controls on it. It's got a couple of knobs for you to kind of get in between the settings here. So at the moment you've just got on this one, you've just got the switches to get kind of absolute settings. Dials on the PDI-04, so you can kind of get everywhere in between. What this does have that the PDI-04 lacks is a couple of DIs. Well, it's actually got 4 DIs on the back, so they're completely unfiltered. So I can send those into Cubase and then apply a cabinet impulse, which is what I do. As the speaker simulation on these units, although it's certainly very good, I've just always found I get better results with cabinet impulses, and tend to be using the Redwirez, the free ones that they gave away a short while ago, because as I understand it, they were recorded with a solid state amp, so there's no tube amp colouring on the impulse, whereas most of the other impulses you find are put through a guitar head to begin with, so you get a kind of power amp sound on them. In theory, anyway, that's my kind of paranoia. So, so what we're going to hear is the Palmer with its own speaker simulation, and then I'll do a quick clip with a Redwirez impulse using the DI out on it. And what I'm going to be using today for this video is I'll use my new RG Premium 7, which gets a lot of shit. I really like it though. I think it's a really nice guitar. I really enjoy playing it. I'm going to be using my trusty Ibanez TS9, and I'll use the Engl Powerball because I'm actually trying to sell that as well at the moment, and that won't be around, hopefully won't be around for much longer, so I'll get some video time in with it. So let's have a listen to, I think I've got everything, yep, I've got everything set flat on it, so we're going to hear how the filter sounds with the normal position, and then we'll hear how some of these settings change the sound. And just to quickly explain, deep is supposed to be a 4x12 type sound, flat is supposed to be a 2x12 sound, and I think there's also supposed to be, I think the 2x12 is supposed to be open back and the 4x12 is supposed to be closed back, but I'm not entirely sure. I think it says that about the PDI-04. Doesn't say it in the manual for this one, but I think they're kind of pretty much the same sound, the same filter. And then the bright and mellow. Bright is meant to be Marshall cabinet sort of sound, and mellow is supposed to be a Mesa, or they're labelled British and American, but I think that's kind of code for Marshall and Mesa. And then normal, I'm guessing, is just a kind of halfway in between them, and on the cabinet size I can only assume that's meant to mean a 3x12. So let's hear how it sounds on the 2x12 setting, and I'll leave it on normal for now, and then we'll flick it over. But I won't go through everything because it's a bit too many combinations to work through. And just quickly to explain, there's going to be a kind of fair amount of whine on the guitar, not only in this video, but on the guitar as well, because I'm sat near everything that's electrical in my apartment, or flat as we call it in the UK. So there's a kind of awful lot of background noise on it, and I don't know if you can hear that on the cams mic. I'm hoping it will be not super visible on the direct recording that I'm doing, but I won't know until I've finished it, unfortunately, so fingers crossed. Work with me here, work with me. Okay, so let's have a quick listen to the 2x12 setting, and it's set on normal, and I've got the filter all the way up, so we're not hearing any of the DI from the amp. We don't want to hear that. And this is just a master output, and it's set to 5, which is giving me a kind of, perhaps a kind of slightly too hot level. I might just roll it back a tiny bit. And let's have a quick listen to how this sounds. pretty cool. It's pretty cool. So let's have a listen to the 4x12 setting. But that's not bad, that's pretty cool. Now let's switch it over to the bright sound on the 4x12. Let's have a quick listen to that, see how that sounds. And then we can hear on the Mesa, the mellow setting, it's 4x12 again. Okay, so now we'll hear the 2x12 setting, and we'll leave it on the Mesa, the mellow setting, and then we'll switch over to the Marshall after that. Okay, if you forgive the shit playing, and let's hear the Marshall 2x12 setting. Well, that's probably my favourite so far that I've had. I'm not changing the settings on the amp, and I've left them from the setup that I use for using impulses, so it might not be the most fair test of the speaker simulation, but it just kind of gives you a quick flavour of how it sounds. So now I'm going to quickly reset it all up, so I'm using the DIs on it, and I'll use a cabinet impulse on this, and we'll see how that sounds. Right, so I've reset up. Now I'm using the DI on the back. Don't need to worry about where these settings are. On the Palmer, on the PDI-04 rather, always had to kind of be careful with the settings. If I was going from impulse to speaker simulation, onboard speaker simulation. Last things don't have to on this because of the dedicated DI out. I've had to roll the volume up all the way as the volume level was significantly less because the filter was kind of turned all the way up, so it's boosting it quite a bit. So we're now going to hear how it sounds with impulse file, and the impulse I'm using is one of the Redwirez Marshall 1960. I believe it's the Audix i5 2-inch from the in between the cap and cone, if you're interested in all the bum flufferys. So let's hear how that sounds. Okay, that's probably about the size of it. There isn't too much information about using these with DIs out online. I've looked around on YouTube and online, and nearly everyone kind of talks about them with their onboard speaker simulation, and any reference to the DI is usually just for using effects or kind of feeding the PA, but there's no way you're going to feed the PA with the DI out on this unless you just want all that kind of fuzzy sort of sound that you get. So this is a kind of demonstration of, it's a way to kind of demonstrate that you can use cabinet impulses with these units, and you'll get a kind of pretty good sound. I tend to use the DI out approach with these units on the PDI-04 is what I was doing. I don't use the speaker simulation on them, as I find it's got a bit of a kind of in the room sort of sound to me. It sounds a little bit like a cabinet does in the room. Most of the reviews of it don't seem to agree with me on that. They always say it lacks any air, but I think it's got kind of a bit more of a organic sound, whereas using impulses I tend to get much more of a kind of studio mic'd cab sort of approach to it. But that's not to kind of diminish the speaker simulator on it. It's clearly pretty bloody good. I just don't mess around with it too much. I've always just stuck with the way that works for me, which is DI and cabinet impulse. But I'm sure if I was tweaking the settings on the amp, I'd probably get some decent sound out of it. That's about the size of it. Hope the video wasn't too fucking shit, which it probably was. That's about it. Bye.